Welcome back to the deep dive. We take really complex guides, deep research, and boil it all down so you can get genuinely informed fast.
And today, we're tackling a huge one.
Yeah.
Wine. We've got this incredibly detailed, multi-chapter guide. Really exhaustive stuff.
Seriously comprehensive. It goes from like vineyard geology all the way to super advanced food pairing and spotting flaws.
Yeah, everything's in there. Viticulture, winemaking, tasting, you name it.
So our goal today, it's a shortcut for you. We want to get you past just, reading the label.
Right.
We want you to understand the actual structure of wine, the process behind it, so you know the why of what you're drinking.
Exactly. Think of it like understanding the wine's DNA. We're going to pinpoint what makes a wine tick, what gives it character, and longevity. Okay, let's unpack this.
Perfect. Let's start right at the beginning. Production, red wine, white wine. What's the absolute core difference in how they're made?
It really boils down to one thing. Skin contact, or maceration is the technical term.
Maceration, okay.
So for red wines, the crushed grapes hang out with their skins during fermentation.
Yeah.
That contact is key to where the magic happens for reds.
Why? What are the skins giving the wine that white wines just don't get?
Two really critical things. First, obviously color. Those pigments, anthocyanins, they come from the skins.
Makes sense.
And second, maybe even more important structurally, are the tannins.
Tannins. We hear that word a lot.
Yep, they're phenolic compounds. They come from the skins, the seeds, sometimes even the stems, if they're included. White wines generally miss out on those.
So for white wine, you basically just skip that step. You get the juice away from the skins fast.
Pretty much immediately. The juice is pressed off the skins before fermentation starts. Quick separation.
Even if you're using red grapes.
Exactly. Think of champagne, a Blanc de Noir. That's white sparkling wine made from black grapes like Pinot Noir.
Right.
They press it gently, get the clear juice off the skins right away, and voila, white wine.
That makes the distinction super clear. Okay, let's dig into those components. You mentioned tannins and acidity. They're like the architecture of the wine, yeah.
Absolutely. The pillars, you could say.
So tannins, how do we perceive them? It's not really a taste, is it?
No, it's more of a feeling, a tactile sensation. It's astringency.
That dry, kind of rough feeling on your gums.
That's the one. It might feel drying or even a bit fuzzy, but that feeling is crucial. It gives the wine structure, backbone, and importantly, its ability to age, its longevity.
So connecting that to buying wine, if I pick up a bottle, how does knowing about tannins help me decide if it's for tonight or for, say, 10 years from now?
Well, if a wine has noticeable, firm, well-integrated tannins, it signals it has the stuffing, the structure, to potentially evolve and improve over years, even decades.
They act like a preservative.
In a way, yes, like a structural preservative framework. Wines that lack that tannic structure, they're usually best enjoyed young, before they lose their freshness.
Got it. Now, acidity, the source calls it the wine's skeleton, its backbone.
A great analogy.
But lots of people, especially newer drinkers, sometimes say a wine is too acidic. So can that skeleton be, I don't know, too sharp?
Well, absolutely. Acidity needs balance. If it's sticking out on its own, not balanced by fruit or alcohol, it can be sharp or unpleasant.
Well, we need it.
Definitely. Acidity provides the freshness, the brightness, the vivacity. It makes your mouth water. Without enough acidity, a wine just feels heavy, dull, flabby.
And like tannins, it helps with aging.
Crucially, it's a natural preservative, helps the wine stay fresh and evolve gracefully over time. Without good acidity, wines tend to fall apart much quicker.
Okay, structure down. Let's zoom out from the bottle back to the vineyard. Terroir. Everyone throws that French word around.
They do.
Our sources define it really nicely as the wine's fingerprint. Unique identity. What elements combine to create that?
It's this unique fusion, this complex blend of four key things. First, climate, temperature ranges, rainfall patterns, hours of sunshine.
Okay.
Second, soil.
Yeah.
It's make-up clay, sand, limestone, whatever its drainage, the minerals present. Topography. Things like the altitude of the vineyard, the slope of the hill, which direction it faces for sun exposure.
And the fourth element. This one ties it all together, the human touch.
Exactly. Human tradition, or savoir-faire, the French call it. It's the accumulated knowledge, the practices passed down, the winemaker's choices.
So it's not just nature.
No, terroir isn't just passive geography. It's the interaction between that specific place, climate, soil, slope, and the generations of human experience deciding how to best express it. Pruning methods, harvest timing, how you ferment.
It's the interpretation.
Precisely. The human interpretation of those natural gifts. That's why, you can plant the same grape in two places with similar soil and climate, but the wines will taste different because the human approach, the tradition, is different.
Fascinating. That interplay of geology, climate, and human history. Really cool.
It is. It's what makes wine endlessly interesting.
Okay, let's shift gears. Decoding some key styles, starting with bubbles. Champagne versus Prosecco versus Cava. They all sparkle, but they're made differently, right?
Totally different paths to the bubbles, leading to very different styles. Champagne and Cava share the same core method.
The traditional method.
Exactly, or méthode champenoise.
Yeah.
The key is that the second fermentation, the one that creates the bubbles, happens inside each individual bottle.
And that aging in the bottle is what gives them those complex flavors.
Yes. That time spent aging on the dead yeast cells, the lees, it's called autolysis. That's where those classic brioche toasted almond bready notes come from. Complexity.
Okay, so Prosecco.
Prosecco almost always uses the Charmat method or tank method. The second fermentation happens in large pressurized stainless steel tanks, not in the bottle.
Why do that?
It's quicker, less expensive, and crucially, it's designed to preserve the fresh, fruity, floral aromas of the Glera grape. Think green apple, pear, white flowers. It's about freshness, not yeasty complexity.
Got it. Bottle method, complex, toasty. Tank method, fresh, fruity. Very clear.
Nailed it.
Now, fortified wines. Port, sherry. These are different beasts altogether. Something happens chemically.
Yeah, the defining feature is that their fermentation is stopped partway through.
Stopped? How?
By adding a neutral grape spirit,
Yeah.
basically a high-alcohol brandy, aguardiente vinica.
Why would you do that? Interrupt fermentation?
Well, adding the spirit kills the yeast. Yeast eats sugar and produces alcohol.
Wow.
Kill the yeast early.
And the leftover sugar stays in the wine, making it sweet.
Exactly. You get significant residual sugar. Plus, the added spirit obviously boosts the alcohol content, usually up to somewhere between 17 and 22% ABV.
Wow.
And that high alcohol also acts as a really effective natural preservative, allowing these wines to last for ages.
Okay, we've covered creation, structure, styles. Let's talk about potential disaster. The big flaw that can just ruin a bottle.
Ah, yes, the dreaded one. Here's where it gets really interesting. Or, well, maybe just depressing if it happens to you. We're talking about cork taint.
TCA, trichloroanisole.
That's the chemical culprit, TCA. Also known as bouchonné, or just plain corked.
That smell, like a damp basement, wet cardboard.
Exactly, that musty, moldy aroma. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it screams. But the real damage it does, it completely cancels the fruit in the wine.
It wipes it out.
Annihilates it. Even a tiny amount of TCA can strip the wine of its character, leaving it tasting dull, flat, and just wrong, with it overriding damp cardboard or moldy smell.
So what are the clear warning signs for the listener when they open a bottle? What should they sniff for?
Definitely that wet cardboard smell.
Yeah.
Or mold. A damp cellar or basement funk.
Mm.
Sometimes even like wet dog, unfortunately. Yeah. And it doesn't have to knock your socks off. Even a faint hint means the wine is tainted and won't show its true potential. Sadly, estimates suggest it affects, maybe 3 to 5% of bottles with natural corks?
That's a lot of potentially ruined wine experiences. A real shame.
It is. A silent killer in the industry, really.
Okay, moving into our final segment, let's get practical. Storage and pairing. Our source flags 3 big enemies of wine.
Yes. The villains of the cellar. Number 1 villain, heat.
The silent villain, it calls it.
Good term. Heat is terrible because it speeds up all the chemical reactions, including oxidation. It basically cooks the wine, destroys those delicate fruit aromas we love, makes it taste stewed and tired fast.
Okay, heat is bad. What are the other 2?
Light, especially UV light. It degrades the compounds responsible for color and structure. That's why most quality wines come in dark glass bottles. It acts like sunglasses for the wine.
Makes sense. And the 3rd?
Vibration. It sounds minor, but constant shaking or jostling, like storing wine on top of the fridge or next to a washing machine.
Good idea.
Yeah, it disturbs the sediment in older wines and is thought to accelerate chemical reactions in an undesirable way, keep things still and quiet.
And related to storage, there's that crucial tip about bottles with corks. They must be stored lying down. Why?
Absolutely critical. Horizontal storage keeps the wine in contact with the cork. This keeps the cork moist and plump.
And if it dries out?
If it dries out, it can shrink, just slightly.
Right.
But enough to potentially let tiny amounts of air seep in around the edges. And air means oxidation, which kills the wine over time. Lying it down prevents that seal from failing.
Right. Okay, one really cool practical tip from the source. Quick chillin'. You need a bottle chilled fast. What's the secret weapon for your ice bucket?
Salt. Coarse salt specifically.
Salt. In the ice water.
Yep. Most people just use ice and water. But if you add a good handful of coarse salt to the ice water slurry,
What does it do?
basic physics. Salt lowers the freezing point of water, so the salty ice water gets significantly colder than 0 degrees Celsius, colder than the ice itself.
Ah,
And that super chilled water makes much better contact with the bottle than just ice cubes alone. So thermal conduction is way faster, chills the wine much, much quicker.
that's brilliant. Using science for faster wine chilling. Love it.
Works like a charm.
Okay, let's wrap up with pairing. Harmonization. Rule number 1 seems to be about weight.
Equilibrio de peso. Balance of weight, it's fundamental. Match the intensity of the wine to the intensity of the food.
So light dish, light wine. Rich dish, heavy wine.
Exactly. Delicate fish with a light Pinot Grigio. Big, hearty stew with a full-bodied Cabernet Sauvignon. If you mismatch, one will overwhelm the other, the wine gets lost, or the food seems bland.
And the source makes a great point. Often it's the sauce or the seasoning that dictates the pairing more than the main ingredient itself.
Crucial point. Chicken is a blank canvas. Plain roasted chicken is different from chicken in a creamy mushroom sauce or a spicy tomato sauce. Focus on the dominant flavors, often the sauce.
Okay, let's bring back our structural elements, acidity and tannin in pairing. How does acidity work with food?
The golden rule here is the wine's acidity should be equal to or higher than the food's acidity.
Wait, higher. So if I have a really acidic dish, like something with a sharp vinaigrette or lots of tomato sauce, I want an acidic wine. Won't that just be sour on sour?
It sounds counterintuitive, I know. But think about it. If you pair a low-acid soft wine with that high-acid dish, the food's acidity will strip the wine bare. The wine will taste flat, dull, maybe even metallic.
Ah, I see.
But if you match it with a high-acid wine like a Sauvignon Blanc, a dry Riesling, maybe a Chianti with tomato sauce, the acidities balance each other out. It cleanses the palate, makes the wine feel refreshing, and actually makes the fruit in the wine pop. It works.
Okay, I trust you. High acid needs high acid. Now, the classic combo, tannins and fat.
The beautiful contrast pairing. Those tannins in red wine, we talked about the astringency.
Yeah.
They love fat and protein,
Yeah.
especially in red meat. Think a good steak with a Malbec or a Cabernet. The fat in the meat smooths out the perception of the tannins,
Yeah.
makes the wine feel softer, silkier.
And the wine does something for the meat?
Absolutely. The tannins cleanse your palate. They cut through the richness of the fat, refresh your mouth, making you ready for the next bite. It's a perfect synergy. Each makes the other better.
Love that. Okay, finally, let's bust a myth. The idea that red wine goes perfectly with all cheese.
Oh boy, yeah, that's generally wrong. A huge myth.
Why? What's the clash?
It's often those tannins again. Tannins in many red wines clash badly with the saltiness and acidity found in a lot of cheeses. The combination can taste really unpleasant, metallic, bitter, just off.
So ditch the Cabernet with the cheese board. What works better?
Be strategic. Think about the cheese. Fresh, tangy cheeses like goat cheese. Go for a high-acid white wine like Sancerre.
Right.
Creamy, rich cheeses like Brie or Camembert. Sparkling wine is fantastic. The bubbles and acidity cut right through the richness.
And those really strong blue cheeses, Roquefort, Stilton.
That's where you need intensity, and usually some sweetness. Fortified wines like port are classic for a reason, or a rich dessert wine. The sweetness balances the salty pungency. Red wine usually just gets murdered by blue cheese.
Wow, okay. So much practical advice there. This has been an incredible deep dive. I feel like anyone listening now really gets the core stuff. Structure like acidity and tannin, how maceration defines red versus white, spotting that awful TCA defect.
And the basic logic for pairing matching weight, focusing on sauce, using acidity and tannin strategically.
Yeah, you've got the toolkit now to approach wine with way more confidence and actual understanding.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But before we finish, there's one last big myth, one that really influences how people buy and keep wine. We need to address it. So what does this all mean?
Right, the big question, does all wine actually get better with age?
The answer unequivocally is no, absolutely not.
Really? Not even most wine?
Not even close. Probably over 90% of all wine made in the world is intended for consumption within, say, 1 to 5 years of its vintage, max.
So only a small fraction is built for the long haul.
Only the wines that have that serious structure we talked about, the firm tannins, the high acidity, the concentration of fruit, the balance, those are the wines that can potentially evolve and gain complexity over many years.
And if a wine doesn't have that structure, or if you store it badly,
It won't improve. It will
Sure.
just fade,
Yeah.
deteriorate, lose its fruit, become tired, oxidized. Basically, it becomes dead. So the takeaway is be selective. Don't just assume every bottle benefits from gathering dust. Drink most wines young and fresh and only cellar the ones truly built for it.
Be strategic about aging. Great final thought.